Hello and welcome to the 2023 Winter Games New Zealand, presented by Roche-Posay and Cardrona Alpine Resort. Today is the last day of the FIS Junior World Championships and we're going out in style on this behemoth. It's big air. We have both freeski and snowboard finals today. The best of the best. We had 200 athletes travelling from over 30 countries for the FIS Junior World Championships, and it all comes down to this today. The last of the world titles up for grabs for all of these athletes. They're aged between 18 and 15 years old. This is the schedule. Kicking off with freeski this morning. 3 jumps for both the women and the men, and then around 12 o'clock local time here in New Zealand, we'll have 3 runs for the men and women in the snowboarding. Joining me in the booth today, I'm very pleased to say that I have the 2022 Slopestyle Junior World Champion, Ruby Andrews. How you doing, Ruby?
Great to be here. I mean, we've got a lovely day up here at Cardrona Alpine Resort for these finals. Yesterday, the qualifiers went down and the action was crazy. We saw triple corks from the men, double corks from the women, even some switch 10s from the ladies, so it's going to be a great day of watching today.
And sat next to Ruby, I've got the skiing savant who many people believe has a strand of skiing in his DNA. It's Finn Billis. Finn, you've put in some shifts on this jump. Just how good is it?
Oh, it's one of the best in the world, and I mean, with conditions like we've got today, and also yesterday for the qualifiers, I mean, it couldn't be better, really. So looking forward to seeing what these ladies and men have to throw down on it.
Okay, we can take a look at the weather graphic now, I think. It's, but you don't need this to tell you. I think that 10 kilometres an hour is optimistic. You can see there's just a gentle fanning on the left flag, but the right-hand flag right under the U of Sunny has absolutely given up. Big shout out to the Cardrona Parks crew, though. Look at that, putting the last rake on this absolutely monstrous kicker before we get stuck in. Let's take a look at what's going to go down today, though. We can do it with a format and strategy chat with one of our judges, local Tori Beattie.
The jump is a true tabletop. It's sitting at about 65 feet to the sweet spot. So what that means is from the edge of the takeoff lip to what we would call the sweet spot in the landing, it's 65 feet long. So not huge in the world of big air jumps, but big enough and perfect size for our Junior World Championship athletes. In qualification, we saw 2 jumps and the best score counts. Finals, that changes. So now each athlete gets 3 jumps. And of those 3 jumps, they have to show us 2 different takeoff directions, but otherwise they're only dropping 1 score and they've got to land these jumps. Strategically, they have to think a lot about getting tricks to their feet, and they have to work which score they're going to improve on that 3rd jump. Our judging criteria, it's called overall impression, in that there's 5 criteria of progression, amplitude, variety, execution and difficulty. For big air to win, it's really about the execution game. So it's how they take off, how they grab their skis, is their body position tight in the air, are they landing with no instabilities, no hands down or anything. We're looking for perfection in big air.
Okay, Ruby, we heard Tori talking about strategy there. How do you decide which jump you're going to do first? Do you go for your biggest jump or your safe jump first?
Yeah, I would say, in my opinion, I would go for that jump that you're most confident in, to do that first to boost that confidence, and then have 2 shots for that next trick that you might not be quite as confident in, but all in on all 3 jumps, I think, is the strategy to go for.
Okay, all in. We heard a tiny bit about it there, Finn, but you've got to spin different directions. For the men or for the women, they can choose any of the 4 directions. For the men, they've got to go clockwise or anti-clockwise.
Yeah, so in the qualifications yesterday, we only needed 1 jump, best jump count out of 2, whereas today they're going to have to put that trick down and then also back it up with a different spinning direction. So you might see a bit of a change up from what we saw in the qualification results. They're going to have 2 jumps that are really strong to get up in those high positions of this competition today.
And you're not just choosing that dominant spin direction. You've got to be versatile enough to spin in both directions. Okay, well, we've heard a bit about format and strategy. Now it's time to find out who the stars of the show are going to be with New Zealand free skiing legend, Jossie Wells.
Okay, I've had a gander over the start list, and New Zealand's biggest hopeful is Finlay Malva-Lives. Last year, he landed 2 different 1800s on this jump, so if he can pull that off today, he'll definitely be in the mix. Another proud member of the 1800 club is the Norwegian Leo Landro. If he can pull it all together today, you'll see him on the podium. And after a stellar performance in slopestyle, there's no question that the Swiss team could take home some precious medal with Victor Maxigan and Fadri Reiner. And now we're on to women's ski. First up, China's Yang Rui. Clever skiing and slopestyle saw her land in 5th place. She's consistent, and with strategy playing a big role in big air, she'll be one to watch. Up next, Mariel Moore. She showed grace under pressure in the slopestyle finals. If she can replicate that form today, she'll have a shot at the podium. Australia's Daisy Thomas just missed out on the slope podium, so she'll give it everything she's got in the hunt for Junior World Champs hardware. But if I had to choose a winner, I'd pick Flora Tavernali. I was so impressed by the Italians riding in slopestyle, so I think she's going to come out firing today.
Okay, so Jossie's laid his cards on the table. Do you agree with his picks in the men's, Finn?
I do indeed. I think Jossie's pretty on point with his picks there, but yeah, I think, Finlay Malvolise has a really good shot today. He's got some huge tricks in the bag, and he's done them on this jump before, so he's looking comfortable. Also, Luke Harold, he laid down a big triple cork 14 in the qualifications yesterday, and also has some 16s and 18s in the switch variety in his arsenal too. So both ones to watch, and I think also the Norwegians are coming in strong with Leo Landro and also William Boyce de Luyken. Has some huge tricks and have been riding really well in the training, so I think they've both got a good shot.
You did well with Boyce de Luyken there. Very smooth. Ruby, on the women's side, it feels like we saw in the slopestyle, Yang and Jossie mentioned it there, Yang Rui is very consistent. Muriel Moore was less so in slopestyle, but she did take it at the finish with that last run. Do you think that's going to be the same battle again?
Yeah, I mean, Mariel proved that she can ski under pressure over in the slopestyle, so I think we're going to see some big tricks from her today on this big air. Yang Rui as well, she's got that big double cork 1080 as well as the switch 9, so she's got some big tricks to throw as well on this big air today.
She's got really strong foundation skills. Well, the jump is nearly ready for us. The last thing we're going to do in the pre-show before we get stuck into the action is join Jossie Wells for a lap over this booter. Sit tight, this one's going to be fun.
All right, we're here at the top of the Cardrona Big Air with Sylvia Trotter. Going to run a little course preview, show you what this big air jump's really like. All right, Sylvia, let's get it. All right, so this jump's about 65 feet to the knuckle. You're going to want to go about 75 to hit the sweet spot. Carrying a bunch of speed in here. Whoa! Yeah, Sylvia! That was huge! Nice one. Sick. There we have it. That's a big old big air. Finals is going to be nuts. Nice one, Sylvia. Phew.
How good was that look back from Sylvia?
It's pretty cheeky. I wonder if we're going to see one of those in the competition too.
I'd love to see it. That'd be a good one for the judges, wouldn't it? Okay, let's take a look at the start list as it stands at the moment. Elena Krasuski up at the top there, 6th in big air, last time out of the Junior World Championships in Lausanne. Then Sylvia Trotter qualified in 9th, the New Zealander, looking pretty strong. And I think if she gets the run of the snow today, if she can lock herself in, she could do really, really well. Who else stands out to you on the start list, Ruby?
I think Daisy Thomas is a pretty heavy hitter today. You know, she's got a big left side double cork 1080. If she can just lock into that safety grab, I think that's going to drive up that score.
What's she got on, if she's spinning left with the 10, what's she got on the right to back it up? Because that's the big question, isn't it?
I believe she's going to try a switch 900. I've seen her land it a few times, but hopefully she can put it down today.
Do you think that's what it's going to be, Finn? Where you talked about it as well, Ruby, where we see that big one strong trick, and then actually it's a judge of how good your second trick, how good is your backup trick?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the ladies category yesterday, we saw a few of them doing some big dub 10s. You know, we know these riders have some really big tricks to start it off, but it's going to come down to that second trick to really solidify their spots up in the podium.
Okay, we've talked about it a lot here. I feel like having watched through the last 10 to 15 years, Mottolino Mountain has developed these really strong young talents in Livigno in Italy. And we're now seeing that first generation of riders who've come up from age 4 or 5 in an amazing snow park and got themselves ready for the Milan Olympics in 2026. Feels like it's part of a master plan.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait to see what that next generation does from the Italians. I think they're going to have a good show from them today, and we've already seen in the slopestyle course, and often those skills translate over to the big air. So, yeah, big things from the Italians, I think.
Okay, let's take ourselves up to the top of the jump now. We can get the women's finals underway very shortly. You can see all of the marshals in position down there. Ski resorts just opened up. People on Antlers Alley down at the bottom there. There's actually a little train going through there, isn't there? And then up on the left-hand side of the picture, the end of Big Bucks. That's where we were for the slope style. Looking very, very tidy up there. And as
we've got someone coming in to hit that last booter there.
You can see it on the...
Hey.
Ooh, really nice little safety.
It looks beautiful out there today.
Okay, we'll be back very shortly. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, we will have the start of the Women's Junior World Championships Big Air Freeski Finals. Okay, so up to the top, and we have our first athlete. It is the young American Elena Krasuski. Really crisp, tight style. Gets a hug from her coach there. Got a 6th at the Junior World Championships in Big Air in Lausanne last year. So she's got a marker set for herself, and she's definitely going to want to better that. 18 years old, it's her last shot at this Junior World Championship title.
Grooving as she's dropping in here. Just taking a little moment at the top before she drops in. Opening up these finals today, it's Elena Krasuski coming out of America for a right side 720, reaching back for that lead tail grab, locking it in. Beautiful way to start off these finals today.
So, relatively basic on that one to open up, but as you said, Finney, it's kind of taking that first run and making sure it counts.
Yeah, and I mean, we heard it before in the pre-show. They were looking for perfection, doing that one really clean there. Maybe a little bit less on the technical difficulty. We know she's got more in the tank. We saw the 1080 yesterday, so she might just be looking to put one down, and she's got 2 more runs to increase that score.
Okay, so she's taken a right side first jump, 61.75. Next up, the only New Zealander in the Women's Freeski Junior World Champs final is Sylvia Trotter, 16 years old, Wanaka local, puts a lot of time in at site. The Tramp compound down in town.
There's Sylvia dropping in, sporting the all black, taking after the rugby team as she drops in. What's she going to do to start this off? A big right side cork 720 with a Japan grab there. So also a 720, but going off axis compared to Elena in that first run. So we'll see how that score holds up. Maybe a little bit less on the execution, but a really nice run to start it off.
Getting super inverted there for Sylvia and putting down the landing gear. She's looking stoked at the bottom there.
She's got a big smile on that one, and as you said, Finn, exactly the same trick, like for like. The judges are comparing apples and apples with that one, and I think there was with Elena, we saw she completed the rotation a little bit early, had to open up and slow it down, but Sylvia just fought the end of that cork, didn't she, to bring it in?
Yeah, fought it out, but I think just maybe even getting a little bit tangled in Japan, so we'll see how that score comes in. At a 53 there, so I think it was just that grab that left her a bit short on the score there, unfortunately.
Phenomenal just seeing how much of a difference a slight instability or an error can make. Okay, next in, Maria Anichin. Great to see a Ukrainian athlete out here. Oh, sorry, Eleanor Andrews out of the USA, 16-year-old. Super Tech rails in the slope style. Interesting to see what she's got today.
Let's see if she's going to back up her teammate, Elena Krasuski, currently sitting in first position. But here we see Eleanor Andrews coming out of the States, dropping into her first run of these finals, carrying speed into that jump. Left side, cork 900 with the mute grab. Just touching it for a second there, but stomping her first run here.
Yeah, I think we need to go to the Webster's Dictionary definition of grab now. That looked like a tickle to me. Those skis were giggling.
There we go. We've got the replay. Just hovering over it there. Maybe going a little bit big, so having to open up and slow it down a bit there.
She's got that lovely nervous smile as well, hasn't she? Where she's like, oh, I'm peaking right now.
Yeah, I mean, on a day like this, I think every big air skier wakes up with a little bit of nerves in their stomach because they know they're going to throw down on this thing.
Yeah, if you've never been in an elite level competition, 48.5 there for Eleanor Andrews.
Right.
I was going to say, if you've never been in an elite level competition, I can't quite say that, then think of what it's like the first time you ever cut school and you're so nervous, your stomach's just flipping, and it's probably the same for these guys. Now it's the turn of Maria Anachin out of the Ukraine. Great to see Ukrainian athletes getting to live a semblance of normal life amongst the invasion of their country. They've been putting on quite a show here in New Zealand. So dropping in for her first jump of the Big Air Freeski finals.
Doing a little bit of visualization at the top before dropping. It looks like she might set something forward here, and yes, she is. She's going to do a right side Misty 720 mute, super clean. Quite a flippy rotation on that one too. Not too many ladies out here that we're seeing do the Misty rotation. So something different, something unique, and often the judges like to see that, you know, to separate yourself from the pack.
Yeah, just diving right over the front there, locked into that mute grab, flailing out a little bit at the end, but a clean run for Maria.
She let out one of those high-pitched screams that I think only people under 25 can hear as well when she landed. She was stoked. And it's a different axis to the ones we saw from Elena Krasuski and Sylvia Trotter, but essentially it's a right side 7. So we've got a 53 from Sylvia and a 61.75 from Elena that we can measure this against.
I mean, I'm no judge, but I've got to say that was pretty clean. Coming in with a 69.50.
So
lovely score.
Exactly what Tori said. A different axis, you can really mix things up and impress the judges. So we've got a huge score range there from 53 to 69.5 on a right-sided 7.
And really looks like, you know, they're rewarding that perfection, that execution. The points are just really stacking up there. So if these girls can lay things clean, that's going to have them up in those top positions today.
Okay, Kiho Sugiwara out of Japan, the 16-year-old dropping in.
She did 2 lovely 7s in qualies, so let's see what she's got for us in these finals. And she's going to go for a right side 720, opting for the upright spin, the same as Elena with that lead tail grab. Let's see how it stacks up, because that was pretty clean all the way through.
In the FIS judging textbook, that was about as close as 7s get, wasn't it?
Wow, look at
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Just super nice, just locking into the blunt grab there and really clean. So definitely following those execution points. I think that'll be a good score to come in.
And so we've got a lot of right-sided 7s. It's almost your downfall if you're doing that right-sided 7 now. We're on our 4th variation of that. But that, I think, maybe the amplitude might be down a little bit. She was safe, but she wasn't massive. Again, 69.5.
Yeah, so the judges already getting the work cut out for them. Some tight scores. Oh, there we go. 72.5 coming in.
Sorry.
Okay, next up, Muriel Moore out of Germany. She has already taken out the Junior World Championship title in slopestyle. She will be looking to make it too with a Big Air title today. She's certainly got the skills.
Saw some really nice riding out of Muriel yesterday in the qualification. She was doing some switch 9s and some switch 10s even, so looking forward to seeing what she starts it off with. And she's going to go for that switch left Misty 900, reaching back for the blunt grab, almost a bit more on the inside of the ski. We call that toxic in skiing. But yeah, she's looking happy down there, a big smile on her face, so nice to put one down as her first run.
That was beautiful. We saw yesterday opening up a little bit at the end, but that was just spinning right into that landing, putting the landing gear down for Muriel. That was a lovely first run for her.
Always a real confidence booster to put down your first run and have those 2 more to mix it up and put down your other direction of spinning.
Okay, so Muriel waiting on a score right now. Kiho Sugiwara on a 72.5. And Muriel Moore blasting through with an 88.75. Very, very strong score for the German. Over 15 points daylight between her and Kiho Sugiwara. She means business. Next up, it is the Australian. Really, really strong skier. You actually put her down as one of your favourites, Ruby. Daisy Thomas.
Absolutely. She's so confident. You know, she's got the confidence to send these bigger tricks Absolutely. So let's see what Daisy has for us. Looking determined at the top there.
So first of 3 jumps for all of the women, and they've got to spin in different directions. Their 2 best scores will count, but those 2 scores have got to be different rotations. So these women, you're going to see their strongest tricks out first, usually, and then they'll use their spare 2 jumps to work on that less dominant direction of rotation. So Daisy Thomas looking for a big, clean hit here.
Here we see Daisy just visualizing that double cork at the top there, tapping her poles together before she drops in, carrying lots of speed, looking smooth. Yeah, for the left side double cork 1080.
There was never a doubt from the moment she took off.
Absolutely not. She's looking stoked with that one. I think this might have been the first time she's landed the double cork in competition. So nice work, Daisy.
We'll see here. She's just reaching down for the safety grab, but almost looking like she had to grab the knees there. The judges are wanting to see these athletes get right to the bottom of the base there and reach over, so we'll see what that score comes in at. But I'd say she's got some to improve on that too. You know, we saw some really nice double cork 1080s from her yesterday in the qualification, so she can get her hand down onto that ski. I think she's going to be right up there in the high scoring range today.
It'll be interesting to see if she has another swing at the 1080 or whether she comes back, whether she goes for a less dominant spin, a switch or a right-sided trick, and then works back on that double cork 10.
Yeah, there's definitely some strategy that plays into the big air. You know, she's been hitting this jump forward, so maybe she's going to stick to the 10, or she'll jump right into it and do the switch rotation and try to get 2 scores on the board right away. But
judges definitely saw that boot grab then. The buckle grab has cost her massively. 54.5 for a double cork 10. Not what Daisy Thomas was looking for. Okay, next up it's the turn of Yang Rui, Chinese skier, so strong in slopestyle.
One of Jossie's picks today, Yang Rui, getting super noticed on the World Cup circuit last year, but not as much on the big air side. She's more of a more recognised for her slopestyle skiing, but
she's got that consistency, hasn't she, over 6 obstacles. Maybe not that big single trick focus for big air, but she qualified well in 3rd place, so it'll be interesting to see what she pulls out here. I think we're going to see her coming. Maybe she won't have the biggest tricks, but when we get into those alternate tricks, she's got a deep bag of tricks.
And she's just been so consistent as well through the competition. Looking like she went for the switched left side 1080 there, having a little bit of troubles with the feed, but I would want to say that was a switch left 10. Really clean, consistent through this competition this week.
I think what we see a lot with Yang Rui is just she's locking into all of her grabs. Yeah, see that mute? It's just locked in.
See, yeah, switch 1080 there. Where they stung Daisy for missing that grab, she definitely locked into that mute there. So really nice run to start things off for Yang Rui.
Yeah, the checklist was ticked in every single element there. Plenty of amplitude. Technical as well with that switch variation of the 10. In your mind, do you see, I often think of, like, corks take more commitment, but a flat spin is way harder to slow down as you land. So they each have their merits, but I always feel like the judges will lean towards a double cork or a triple cork over a flat spin. You'll get more scores. Do you agree?
I mean, I think it's hard to make a flat spin look as good as a cork, and if you can keep it flat and make it look good, then that score is going to absolutely skyrocket.
Okay, that's a really good way of looking at it. So judges taking their sweet time on the score here for Yang Rui. They want to get this one right. At the moment, we've got a 1080 at a 54.5 from Daisy Thomas, but there was no grab on that. So they punished her massively. She reached down, she managed to undo her buckles, but not get a hold of the ski. So the score has come in as a flat 80 for Yang Rui. She's in 2nd place, just behind Muriel Moore, ahead of Kiho Sugawara. And next up is Han Linshan, the 17-year-old out of China. First time she's competed outside of China. She's done a couple of FIS events, so really low-level national events in China. But stepping up to this stage, we touched on it earlier on, the level of nerves. Like, you forget this is like first time for a lot of these athletes, as you said the other day, Finn, that they've pulled on a national uniform, represented their country.
Yeah, and there can definitely be some more added pressure, you know, with that. You come down here with a big support team as well. There's a lot of people relying on you to perform while you're down here. So hopefully they can just channel that energy and just focus on what they need to do out here. You know, don't get too caught up on the result and just focus on the process that we look to drop in here.
Han Linshen definitely got the tricks to jump right up there into that podium territory, as we saw yesterday, qualifying in second place, as she goes in for her first jump of these qualifiers for a left side double cork 1080.
Wow.
That was gangster from Han Linshen.
Looked very, very strong.
And just waving her way into the finish crowd there. But a really nice double cork 1080. You know, those were some of the highest scoring tricks that we saw yesterday in the qualification. And where Daisy Thomas just kind of struggled to get that grab, she locked into that mute and just stomping that one out there.
Yeah, properly bent the ski across in front of her. Got a bit of steez on it.
Interesting just watching that landing there as well come in, you know, hands out to the sides. I wonder as well if that maybe came from a little bit of big air, airbag training, as well. I think, you know, often these riders from China spend a bit of time on those bags, and you got to ski out straight and be ready for whatever's coming next. You know, sometimes there can be a wall of balloon, but yeah, score coming through there at a 90, so jumping straight into that top spot, really being rewarded for that clean execution and also the technical difficulty of doing a double cork. So a really convincing way to start her first run of the finals round here.
Yep, China in a strong position. It's a German sandwich on the podium at the moment. Muriel Moore in between the two Chinese. But one skier left to drop. Flora Tabanelli out of Italy. Jossie Wells in that pre-show said that this was where his money was. And having watched qualifying, it's difficult to argue with him.
Absolutely. She was second place on the slopestyle earlier in the week. Showed us she's got the different directions. She's got that double cork 1080, and she's also got a really nice switch bio 900, so let's see if we're going to see that here today.
Well, the moment you say that, two really strong big tricks. There's not a weak spot in her trick repertoire, so dropping in switch.
Flora Tabanelli here taking off over the switch left shoulder and doing a switch left Misty 900, just wrenching that mute grab. So you could see that even on the live feed at full pace, you know, she tweaked that thing using those bindings. So good work there. And
just testing the DIN settings.
Absolutely. And yeah, almost likening to our old Kai Mahler on the style there, just really pulling that one and being super clean on the landing. So a really great way to start this off as well for Flora Tabanelli.
And it was a 9, but the takeoff was so creamy. She wasn't ripping at it at all, was she? It was just really smooth.
Really smooth from Flora Tabanelli, and only 16 years old. To have a trick bag this big is super impressive for the young Italian.
Okay, score coming in, 86 for Flora Tabanelli. So one jump on the board for all of the women in the Junior World Championships Freeski final. It's been a solid start here. Perfect conditions, just a tiny little wave of the teardrops there along the run-in. But we're going to go up to the top now, and we can set off with the men. Okay, so up at the top, we have our first male skier ready to drop. Jarkko Koskinen out of Finland. It's his second Junior World Championships. Age 17, came 29th in slopestyle in Laysan last year. Been progressing so fast.
Yeah, we saw some really nice riding out of him earlier in the week on the slopestyle course, having a super tidy rail line and kind of known for looking pretty casual coming into the jumps too. You can see him dropping in over the switch left shoulder to start off this final for the men's division and going for a switch left double cork 1440, reaching over and looked like he was going for the seatbelt grab. So it's when you're grabbing Japan with your leading hand and then reaching over with the other hand. Almost simulating you putting on a seatbelt in a car and grabbing that same ski. One that we see Alex Holder a lot and get really rewarded for it in the big air competition. So I think that will be a pretty nice score to start this off. But yeah, just we'll have to check with those execution points, you know.
What's fascinating about it, you look at the way the women ski and there's that grace and elegance, really smooth. As soon as you get the boys in, there's this massive explosion, the pop and the power off the takeoff. It's really different approach.
Yeah, these boys all just looking so strong on their takeoffs, you know, cranking those double corks and even triple corks, but that was a beautiful first run for Jaakko Koskinen.
Check him out. He's stacked with the sponsors as well, isn't he?
Yeah, hopefully he could get a goggle sponsor, because, I mean, it's pretty bright out here and he's just opting for none. But score coming through at a 67 there to start things off. So, yeah, maybe down a little bit on the execution, just on that landing, leaning over a little bit. We saw it on the women's field, and I think they're going to be doing the same for the men's.
So second of our Finns dropping in now. Amo Mandolin, the 17-year-old. He's got some big tricks. Let's see where he goes with this.
He's got some nice variety of spinning more on the bio axis, but let's see what he's got here as he drops in over the switch left side shoulder for a switch left double cork 16-20, grabbing that safety. Super clean first run for Amo.
Give himself a little cloud burst to cool down as well on the way into the finish area.
Looking for a couple face shots as he pulls into the finish corral. Going to get the replay here, and you can see he's grabbing down, looking for that safety, but quite behind the binding there as well. So we'll see how that score comes in with some of the other athletes in this field, going for some more technical grabs on spins like that with blunt grabs and mutes.
Yeah, the moment you dial up the difficulty, you're not allowed to dial down the execution. It's almost like that will unbalance the trick more than anything else. So we got a 16, but it's only a 71.25. So Amo Koskinen with a great trick, but he needs to clean it up if he wants to push that score. So two very tight scores to kick us off. Next skier in, Hannes Baumhoffner, landed 2 clean jumps yesterday. So the German, can he follow suit on fellow countrywoman Muriel Moore?
Hannes showed a lot of consistency in his riding in the qualifications yesterday. Both his scores are up in the 80s range. Let's see if he can hold that consistency in the finals here. Starting things off with a left side double cork 1440, going blunt to a double Japan there. So switching up the grabs halfway through. Super technical way to start things off.
He's looking stoked down there.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? You're so used to the kind of cool, calm, collected celebration.
So locked into both of those grabs. Super impressive being able to do the 16 with both the blunt and the Japan.
Yeah, 14 there on the first run.
Well, and you can see as well, like the mindset he's in, having got that one under his belt now, he knows he's given himself a bit of freedom for the next 2 jumps. 84.25 slots Hannes Baumhoffner into the top of our 3 skiers who've dropped so far in this men's Junior World Championship Big Air Freeski final. Next up is the Wanaka local, Finley Melville Ives. He's landed 2 18s on this jump last year. It's going to be interesting to see whether he dusts either of those off today.
Maybe a little hometown advantage for Finley. He's skiing this jump all the time. He knows the speed. He's got the tricks. Definitely has the ability to jump up into these top spots. But Finley looking aggressive in the drop-in here.
He's got the afterburners on, hasn't he?
Switch for the switch left side. Double cork, 18, just going down.
Do you think he was going 18 or do you think he was looking for the 16?
He was definitely going for the 18, but just overcooked it just a little bit.
Yeah, looking at the way he ripped that one on takeoff, it looked like he was going for the 18, but going large as well. This jump is definitely going to be running quick this morning. It's a perfect day out here. The snow is running nice, and just having to open up, he did a really good job to save that one. Maybe put his hand into the ground there a little bit.
Oh yeah, he was grimacing on that, wasn't he? So at 28, he's just fighting to get out of his poles there as well. Second jump, it is for Finley Melville Ives. Malcolm Farris out of Canada, now ready to drop.
Yeah, the Canadians put in a good showing yesterday. We've got 2 of them in this final, 2 of them in this final here today. Let's see if they can keep that going strong. Opting for the no poles. Lots of these riders going no poles out here today, making it a little bit easier to potentially lock into those grabs, which the judges are really looking for. He's taken off to the right and going for a right side double cork 900. So setting a 1080 there, but then doing that kind of wriggle out to bring it back to the 900. A pretty new and progressive trick that we're seeing in the big air and slopestyle fields. Alex Hall also including that one in his winning slopestyle run at the last Olympics. Just, unfortunately, just going down on that one there.
So it's like a bring back, isn't it? You come in, as you said, you're setting the rotation for a 1080, but as you come in, you try and unwind the rotation with the shoulders. So a 25 for Malcolm Farris. Yeah, really, really interesting one. If he can put that down, it's worth a lot, but it's a big high-risk trick. Next in, Joey Ellis out of Australia. So
Qualified yesterday with a beautiful left side double cork 1440. One of the best 14s we saw yesterday from Joey Ellis, jumping across the ditch. Looking concentrated up the top there, tapping the poles together.
I've got to say, on a personal level, I like the poles. It's what differentiates free skiing from aerial skiing.
Absolutely. He's going to drop and switch over the left side shoulder for a switch left double cork 900. Getting one under the belt.
That feels a little light for this level.
Yeah.
I wonder, it looked like he may have been looking for more, almost sitting a little hard there and then having to pull out. I wonder if he maybe even have a switch triple dip, just opening up there, coming down off 4-point landing though. You don't see that too often in a big airfield. Really making use of those poles.
Great to see that. So the score comes in 44.75 for Joey Ellis there. Moves him into 4th place, but the big hitters, we've got Jarkko Koskinen on a 67, Imo Mandlin 71.25, Hannes Baumhoffner 84.25. Now it is the turn of another New Zealander, second New Zealander in these big air free ski finals. It's Luke Harold, the 15-year-old, so driven. I think one of the hardest working skiers on the hill here up here at Cardrona.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Ed. Luke has just been putting in so much work over the last few years and really seeing it show in his riding.
Did you see his head pull then? It looked like he was going for a triple. He was kind of corking his head 3 times.
Well, we saw one of those yesterday for him to get through into this finals round. He's going to start things off here today with lots of speed, going for the left side, triple cork, 1440, going to the bottom. We talked about it in the slopestyle. I think he's making use of that thug zone down there, going huge to start things off.
The only zone left after that is the Gucci zone, isn't it? It's absolutely wild. Luke Harold allowed himself a little bit of a smile there.
Just showing his strength, being able to go to that 3rd, maybe even 4th line down on that landing and stomp it like he never even left the ground. There's that Luke smile there.
Yeah, he's challenged the judges to find an issue with that, hasn't he? I think that's a 90-pointer. I think they're going to really struggle to find fault with it.
That was a really tidy run to start it off. He had time to hang it out. He looked so comfortable in the air coming around to that landing. Super sick to see. And we've actually know he's got some big switch tricks in his arsenal too. He was doing some switch dub 16s and even 18s on this jump last spring. So we'll be looking for his 2nd and 3rd run to back up this score. But I think it's going to come through at a pretty high position.
And only 15 years of age. This is incredible that he's got this arsenal of tricks at such a young age. And not only in the big air, but in the slope, in the pipe as well.
So the judges, whenever we see this, they take their time. Ooh, how wrong can I be? 82 for Luke Harold. And even he takes a double take at that score then. Ooh, that feels a little light, but the judges have got to leave themselves somewhere to go. Perfect conditions here at Cardrona, and the judges will be concerned that they've got to have some room for those 3rd jumps. They could get massive. Okay, Victor Maxigan, one of Jossie Wells' ones to watch. The Swiss dropping in for his 1st run.
One of 2 Swiss riders in these men's finals. Looking smooth coming into this jump for a right side double cork 1620, super clean, locked into that mute grab. Lovely 1st run there.
If that trick was a dress code, it'd be smart casual, wouldn't it? It was beautiful, just so easy.
Yeah, and that's what these riders do to show their skill, just making a highly difficult trick look easy.
Yeah, very, very good start for Victor Maxigan. And it's a 16. Look at him, he's waiting patiently. Cannot wait for this score to come through. 89.5, Matt Lapine. I apologise, it's not Victor Maxigan, it's Matt Lapine. 89.5 for the Canadian. Now it's the turn of Leo Landreau. So it's a DNS for Victor Maxigan. The Swiss will not start. We just had that brought through. So Leo Landreau, so strong in slope style.
Leo's got some huge tricks. He's opting for a t-shirt today, so he's looking confident he's going to stay up on his feet, because he could get some pretty serious ice burn out here if you go down. But doesn't look like he's going to, because he just wrapped up a huge switch, triple cork 1620 mute, holding that grab right the way through, doing it in sunnies as well. This guy's just cruising his way through this big air jump today.
I gotta say, there was not a finger out of place with that switch triple cork 1620, holding the grab right to the end, and probably one of the better landings we've seen.
So
wow.
Big shout out up to the coaches who are watching up on Tom's Rock. Shout out to Tom Campbell. So Leo Landro, 93.25. That puts him into first place, just under 4 points ahead of Matt Lapine. Hannes Baumhoffner rounding out the top three with an 84.25. Fast approaching the business end of the first of 3 runs here at the Freeski Big Air Junior World Champs Finals. Next in is Fadri Reiner, number 1 seed.
Saw Fadri making it onto the podium in the slopestyle earlier this week. He's going to want to back that up here over at the Big Air today. Got some huge tricks to show. We saw the switch double Misty 12 over on the slopestyle course, but he's going to drop in forwards for his first run for a double cork 1620 to the left, pole dragon on the landing.
Getting a little afterbang there, simulating some style from Tom Wallish back in the day. Super tidy. Reaching back and just tweaking out that Japan. Just stomping it so hard that his skis were pressed out. And those are some stiff heads that he's riding on there today. So you can just see how much power and energy these riders are putting through their equipment.
Do you think he's going to get marked down for that, though? Is that the kind of thing the judges are looking at? Is that the kind of excuse the judges are looking for, a bit of a press on the landing?
I think he was just a little off balance, so that could deduct his score just a little bit. But nevertheless, it was a lovely 1620.
So it feels like at the moment we've got a couple of players in there with the Finns and the Germans, but it's very much a Swiss versus Norway battle at the moment, it feels like, doesn't it? With Leo Landro and William Bostadloken, and then Fadri Reiner, and unfortunately Victor Maxigan out. 80.5 for Fadri Reiner. So kind of he looked philosophical about that, didn't he? Didn't look too upset about it. Okay, the 18-year-old out of Norway, William Bostadloken, really strong qualies yesterday.
Yeah, we saw some huge tricks out of him, doing some switch double cork 1620s and going right to the cap of that ski, so reaching right over, not going toxic or tindy. He's going right to the top. And we'll see what he's got for us here today, just taking a moment to visualise.
He put in a good showing at the nines as well in Mudden this year.
He's dropping in, and the T-shirt coming on into this jump forwards today on our left side. Double cork, 1800. Holy moly. Spinning that one up into the stratosphere.
He got the cannon out on that one. He wanted to fire a shot across everyone's bows and be that score to chase, didn't he? But unfortunately, let go of the grab there.
So much power. You see he even had a little bit more time at the end there.
It almost looked like the centrifugal force of the spin had pulled his hands off the grab, didn't it? It kind of threw him away. And if anything, over-rotated slightly and then washed out.
He pulled out the blade bait on that one, on the Big Air today. We'll see what the score comes in. Yeah, 45.50. So the judges showing to these riders that they really want to see you locking into those grabs and holding it right the way through if you want to get some of those top scores today.
Especially when they're riding with no poles. That's going to be even more of a deduction if they're not locking those grabs in.
Okay. Start of the women again, and it's the turn now of Elena Krasuski, currently sat in 7th position in this 10-woman final on a 61.75. We saw a right-sided 7 out of her on the first jump, and you can see she's already looking for this left-handed spin, so she's probably going to go in with this is her less dominant trick. If she can get this, then she can boost up that right-sided 7. So Elena Krasuski.
Absolutely. We saw her absolutely ripping in the qualifiers yesterday with that big upright 1080. More of the difficult rotations to do, but made it look easy yesterday. Let's see what she's got for her second run of these finals today. She's going to go for a left side, just opting for the 360, warming up that unnatural direction.
So that's the first one through. Be interesting to see where she gets to with the combination now, and this is where the strategy starts to come into play. We start to get a glimpse of, rather than it being a big single trick showdown, you've actually got to have that depth in your repertoire. So a left-sided 3, it's a steady trick. It'll put a score on the board, but it's not going to be a big one.
Yeah, less technically difficult than what we've seen from some of the other ladies in the first run, but putting 2 scores down on the board, coming to a combination of 100 and 1.25 for a score there. So she's got one more run. She can improve on that too. So nice way to start things off.
Next up, Sylvia Trotter out of New Zealand. She also put down a right-sided 720. Just missed the grab a little bit on it, though. And, oh, no, I think she got the grab cleanly, but she had a little bit of instability coming out of the cork. So let's see. She's
Looking
going
like
for the
she
tail.
might be mixing it up here. She's looking for a tail grab as she's visualising her trick as she's dropping in.
Love to see it, just like Finley Melville Ives, tucked up, aggressive running.
Going straight. And going for the left side, 720, reaching back. And I think just touching that tail there, not sure if she locked into it or not, but nice and clean.
So at the moment, we've got 101.25 for 2 different rotations of spin for Elena Krasuski. Elena had a higher score than Sylvia on her first jump, 61.75, but she's gone for a left-sided 3, whereas Sylvia's got the left-sided 7 in her bag of tricks. So I think they might actually end up being relatively close off the back of that. So, nervous wait for Sylvia. A little smile there.
Holding it back. It's nice to see a Kiwi girl out in this field here today.
Well, there was such a strong lineup between Maddie Disbrown, Misha Thomas, Taylor Breen. So 50.5 to go with that 53. So overall, Sylvia Trotter moves into first place, just ahead of Elena Krasuski. She's got 2 jumps on the board, and both of those skiers are going to be able to really send it on their third and final jumps. Eleanor Andrews out of the USA now, going in for her second jump, and the bar has been set really high. Worth pointing out that we're coming up to 25% of the way through our second jumps, and still not a single woman in this final has fallen. That's incredible consistency.
Absolutely. It's such a beautiful day out here. Really good visibility. Speed is going to be nice and fast, so these athletes are chilling on this jump. Eleanor Andrews for a right side cork 7, getting super inverted, reaching back for the safety.
So, looking relatively pleased with that. She's great poker face. She's giving nothing away there in terms of celebration, is she? Just getting the work done. I can't remember which direction she went through on her first jump.
So you could see from that replay, just tapping the safety there. Judges really looking for these ladies to just lock in and hold it right the way through as the score comes through at a 51.
So 2 very solid jumps there for Eleanor. She'd obviously gone left side on her first jump. Total score for her is a 99.5, so in third place. Maria Anichin out of the Ukraine now, the 16-year-old, absolutely loving her first jump. It was a misty right side 7. So it's going to be interesting to see how much depth she's got here and where she goes.
Looking like she might be spinning right on the second jump as well. Just dropping in here. And going to the right side with a right 720, going for the safety grab. So doing that one upright before we saw her go very off axis with the misty rotation, showing a little bit of variety.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to see. She will get a score for this, but it's whether or not the judges actually add this up as a combination score, because she spun right in both directions. And whether that misty off-axis counts as a different direction, I'm not sure. Because technically, the women are allowed to spin 6 directions: front flip, back flip, switch left and right, and forwards left and right. So whether that Misty will count, yes, it does count as a separate direction. So you've got a right-sided 7 and a Misty right-sided 7 for a combination score of... Oh, no, jump was not scored. It's a lower right-sided spin. So her total is 69.5 on the live scoring. So... Next rider in, Kiho Sugiwara with a 72.5. Great building block for her. This is where she can start to really mix it up.
We saw that right side 720 last time, really locked into that blunt grab. So let's see if she's going to spin to the left possibly here or continue with the right. She's going to go left for a left side cork 7 mute, tweaking out that mute grab, just squeaking over the knuckle there.
Both runs just really locking into those grabs, though. That's what the judges are wanting to see out here today. They're rewarding execution, and she's doing just that with the tail on the first run and then going for the mute grab on that second run. You can just see the replay here. She reaches down, just locking that in, just grabbing it for a little while and opening up as she came into the landing there. A little more speed potentially as well. Could see a few more points on that track as she just squeaked over the knuckle.
Yeah, we've seen a really, exactly what we saw in qualifiers. 2 brilliant, very clean 720s in each direction. So a really strong statement from Kiho Sugiwara. And again, we're yet to see anyone make a mistake. Every single jump landed so far in the women's Big Air Freeski Junior World Champ Finals.
2 stomped 7s from Kiho there, but I got to say, I think she's got more in the bag. I think she's got more to give.
Look at that. Quarter of a point between the 2 7s in each direction. That is a brilliant score. It's textbook. And now we're going to see that third jump. She's got all the freedom to go out there and really push.
Absolutely.
So Kiho Sugiwara in first place. But our first glimpse of Muriel Moore's deeper bag of tricks. She went for it on jump 1. Now she's got the chance to really move ahead. She has got an 88.75 on the board. What's she going to add to it?
I'm excited to see what she does for her second run here today. We saw a switch 9 and a switch 10 yesterday, but she's dropping in forwards and going for the double variation, doing a left side double cork 1080, but unfortunately not being able to hold the landing, coming in maybe a little bit under rotated and just having to sit back on that ski and wash out a little bit there, but showing she's got variety and a depth to her trick bag with going both forward and switch with the high spins today in this finals.
So close to landing there.
Do you think that was a speed issue, or do you think she maybe washed the takeoff and lost the pop and the amplitude because of it?
Yeah, I think you're right there, Ed. Just washing that takeoff just a little bit, not quite popping enough. So if she can clean that up for the second run, it's going to be
okay. Awesome. 114.5 puts her into second nonetheless, but all the pressure on Muriel Moore's third jump. Now it's the turn of Daisy Thomas, the Australian, on a 54.5, the lowest score from jump 1. So all the pressure now. She cannot make a mistake. There are no throwaways for Daisy Thomas.
We saw that double cork 1080 on the first run, just missing the grab a little bit, sending that score down to a 54.50. So she's going to want to land these next 2 runs. Pressure is on for Daisy.
And interestingly, we know the pressure's ratcheting up because we've just seen our first fall. Muriel Moore starting to stretch for a win and made a mistake. Daisy Thomas, she got penalised heavily for that boot grab on the 1080. She's moving on from it though.
She's going to drop and switch this run, moving on from that 10 for a left side. Switch left side 900, just squeaking over the knuckle. Maybe tickling the mute grab.
So a good acronym to use for the judging here is PAVED. It stands for Progression, Amplitude, Difficulty, Execution, and Variety. I actually spelt that PADDEV, didn't I? But in this one, you've got execution really high, but the amplitude, that arc of travel over the jump, you saw her skis clip the knuckle on the replay there.
And just missed that mute grab, unfortunately, for Daisy. But let's see how the judges are going to score this one. Taking their time. Nice bright smile from Daisy.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a big score from the judges here. It's going to take a lot of work for that third and final jump to lift And what's interesting, where's she going to go? Because her strongest score is with the 1080, the first score. So she'll have to move with something other than the left-sided 10. Now we come to Yang Rui. Such a strong performance in slopestyle. Ruby, you made the point that she's got that consistency in slope, but maybe doesn't have those single jump big tricks for big air.
I mean, she has incredible air awareness, but let's just see if she can put the landing gear down on her second run of these qualifiers. We saw the switch 10 last run. She's going to drop in forwards for a left side cork 9. That was clean, getting right deep down into that landing.
Yep. The janitor.
Consistency is key, and she's really showing it out here in the Junior World Championships, putting down 2 runs, the switch 10, and then backing it up with the 900. So right up in that high spinning range and getting the grab really clean on the landing there.
Well, in the big air playbook, she's absolutely greased it, hasn't she? Because she's got 2 big scoring jumps under her belt. She can really stretch with that third jump now.
Yeah, she's got a bit of freedom coming into that third and final run, so excited to see what she does for that one as we await her score to come in.
I'm positive that the score coming in now is going to make her part of the podium conversation 100% come third jumps.
And you're right there, 280. So 2 scores in the 80s, bringing her up to a 160 points total. Very impressive score there.
Yeah, there'll be, you can see Cole, the Chinese coach up at the top, giving the double fist bump. He will be so happy at the moment because he knows Han Linshan, currently sat on a 90, has the kicker to send herself right up there again.
Yeah, so the Chinese really having a strong showing out here today in the finals. She's going to be able to back up her teammate.
So, just visualising this one. There's echoes of aerials about this, aren't there? She really is like, that's, swings around switch.
Haven't seen too many aerialists drop in switch before. Let's see what she can do. Switch left side, 900. So landing 2 runs there. Very impressive.
Tiny little, I always look at this straight away. You're looking at it from the judge's perspective, and you can see how excited she is about that one. Doing the second-hand car dealership, shaky arms, man. But on that landing, you see this right ski just getting away from her. Wonder if the judges will take her down for that.
I mean, 2 landed runs from Han Linshan. I gotta say, that's gotta boost the confidence for her third run.
Well, we're about to see the 20th jump of these finals. We've got 10 female skiers. They're at the end of the second jumps, and we've seen 1 small mistake from Muriel Moore. Other than that, this has been an absolute sleigh fest.
Wild, yeah, the ladies just throwing it down out here. We couldn't have better conditions up here at Cardrona today, and the athletes really showing that in their riding.
So score 76.5, not as strong, but still that 90 is the big diving board that pushes it up to 166.5, ahead of Yang Rui, fellow countrywoman, and Kiho Sugiwara. At the moment, Asian domination of that podium. So Flora Tabanelli, the Italian, dropping in, and she was so powerful, so majestic in qualifying yesterday. Can't see her putting a foot wrong either.
Absolutely came out swinging on her first run of these finals with that switch bio 9, really tweaking the mute grab. I think that's what we see with Flora, is just her grabs. She's been locked in onto every one of them on the slopestyle course and then replicating that over here on the big air on the last couple of days. So I assume she's going to drop in forwards for a forwards trick now.
Looked like it might have echoes of a left-sided rodeo. Oh no.
Left side, double cork, 1080, season out the landing. That's going to be a big score for Flora as we saw her locked into that safety grab.
What was the first trick? Switch 10?
Switch bio 9 with that beautiful mute grab she had.
Yeah, so 2 really big tricks, run 1 and 2, reaching right over there, opening up the legs on the safety grab.
Okay, waiting patiently now. So Maria Anichin out of Ukraine didn't get scored on her second jump because it was the same direction of spin. Everyone else logging a second jump score. And at the moment, Muriel Moore in fourth. Even though she fell, her first jump still working hard for her. Kiho Sugiwara in third. Yang Rui of China in second on 160. Han Linshan of China in second place now with 166.5 because Flora Tabanelli banks a 91.5, giving her a second jump total of 177.5. That women's final is set to explode for the third jumps. Right now, though, we've got to pull it all back because we're heading back over to the men's side. Second jumps for the men. Okay, the 17-year-old just making sure he's got the right track on. Fist bump from the Finnish coach, who looks like he's just finished smoking some fish and cutting some trees down.
Jaakko, known for his style, just super casual through all of his skiing in the park and over on this big air too. Opting to ski with poles this run. Not sure if he had those last run. Did he, Finn?
And toughing it out. Loves not having the goggles or sunnies on.
Dropping in here, going over to the left side and going for a left side double Misty 12 and not being able to get the rotation and just landing sideways, scraping down there a little bit. But not sure if you noticed that too on the grab. He's reaching for the Esco grab, so grabbing safety with his outside hand and then reaching over with his other hand and grabbing right next to that same position. You'll get the replay here. A really hard one to grab. Not sure if he managed to get that outside hand over the ski, but a super technical grab in the left side double Misty 1260.
Look at that stare.
Steely.
He could melt ice cream with that, couldn't he? He was not happy. 22.5 for Jaakko Koskinen. The Finn dejectedly pushing away there. Coach hasn't had to move though, as he drops in the second of his charges, Imo Mandolin. So he's currently on a 71.25 in 7th position.
So here we see Amo dropping in. He's going to go forwards to the left side for a double rodeo 1260. I believe that's what it was. Am I right, Finn?
Yeah, going in similar to Jaakko, doing the Misty kind of rotation. Rodeo Misty, it's up to the interpretation on that one. Each to their own. I'm going to call it a Misty, I'd say, but he's doing that anti-carve off the takeoff, so really interesting there. He's taken off from the left side of the jump, travelling to the right, but spinning to the left. Quite technical. You've got to be patient on your takeoff to make sure you get that rotation around right.
It gives you a bit of power, though, doesn't it? Because you're loading the ski and then throwing around off that edge.
Yeah, and we see athletes doing it in the slopestyle course quite often when the speed gets a little slower, because you can get a couple more meters of trajectory off the takeoff there, and just seeing that he's maybe not going as high as some of the other athletes, but going really far down that landing.
Okay, so Imo comfortably made finals in slopestyle. He's got a 48.5, so after big, strong hits on the first run, we've had 2 faults to start us off on the second run as the pressure starts to bite. No question, these are some of the world's best young skiers, but this is their first bite, first taste of big international competition, and as the pressure hits, each of these athletes is going to react differently. Hannes Baumhoffner out of Germany dropping now.
Wasting little time on the drop-in as he sets a right side double cork 1440. Pretty interesting rotation on that one there. Almost looked like he's stunning himself a little bit as he comes through the landing there.
And he had a beautiful first jump. He's backed that up with a nice steady second jump. Like it's almost the hare and the tortoise, isn't it, in big air at the moment?
Yeah, you see grabbing safety at the start there and almost just having to wrap that one around a bit early, going quite flippy on the second part of the rotation. The judges really want to see the athletes grab those tricks right the way through.
So Hannes Baumhoffner, he is, if you look at it, he's currently in 5th, but he's actually in 3rd. So what's that second run score? It's a 42.25. Judges don't like that at all, do they?
They really want to see these athletes grabbing those skis, so he's got room to improve on that next run.
Okay, Finley Melville-Ives out of Wanaka, New Zealand.
Attempted that switch double cork 1800 on his last run, so got a crash score, so he's going to need these second 2 runs to put both of them down.
Yeah, there is a vice
That's a nervous situation for Finley to be in, but nevertheless, he's got the skills to get right up there.
Lovely to see him attacking this run-in again, though.
Dropping and switch over that left side shoulder again. He's going to go for the switch left side. Double cork 18, just putting a hand down, but that was a land.
So Finn going really big on that jump here again today. There's a long landing on this thing and he's really making use of it. Unfortunately, putting his hand down a bit on the landing, so maybe some deductions in the points for the execution, but really technical trick. You see he's wrapping that one up, going around, and just when you're spinning that much, it's hard to get your spots through the trick, and Finn just coming around maybe a little bit too quick, having time to hang it out and just landing quite forward on the skis. He's also got his name written on the skis. Hopefully he doesn't forget which ones are his when he gets to the top. Good move.
That's from Chris and Rakai in the wax room.
So he's comp wax, so they've obviously given him the fast wax, sending him right to the bottom of that jump.
And he's charging that run-in. I know for a fact Rakai, who's commentating the snowboarding later, works in the wax room. He said his handwriting's terrible, so that could be some of his work on that.
He's saying that's terrible stuff there.
I'm messing with Rakai. So Finn waiting nervously on this one because we know that the judges have got execution as a category, but they've also got progression. A 51, that feels incredibly cruel for an 18.
Really tough for Finlay there. You know, he's got some huge tricks on this jump and you know he wanted more from that, but unfortunately execution is key out here today and not being able to do that on the switch 18.
Okay, so next in, we have Malcolm Farris out of Canada, sat on a 25 from his first jump. So exactly the same situation as Finlay Melville Ives. He has to land this jump. If you're just joining us, it is Big Air Finals. 3 jumps, but 2 scores count, and they have to be opposing directions of rotation.
So Malcolm dropping in forwards here and going for the right side. Double cork 900. Oh, and having trouble again by a snow stake. So first run, we saw him put that down to his feet as well. He's doing a pretzel halfway through a double cork 1080 and bringing it back, spinning the other way. Somehow defining the laws of physics and putting it back to switch. But unfortunately, just something out of the blue on the landing and falling over there. So that's not going to be a score. That's going to be up in the top. Really,
so
super
close.
Unfortunate.
The landing was there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. Landed right in the middle, right on top, and then that snow snake down the landing there just caught him off guard.
Little slithering through the landing there.
I would have loved to have seen Stephen Hawkins take a look at that replay and try and explain that rotation.
Makes no sense to me over here, Ed, but that was super impressive. Cool to see a range of different tricks going down here today. You know, some of the pretzels, quite new, innovative and progressive tricks to see in the freeski field, so awesome to see him giving it a crack there today.
Yeah, and you could see same trick tried twice, so he's dropped the first run score. You only count with the biggest one if it is a repeat of the same trick. So next in to drop, it's the Australian Joey Ellis.
Saw Joey last lap go for that switch 900. I think he's got more in the tank than a 900. Then we see him setting up for something with a mute grab. Here we go. Joey from Australia, 17 years of age, dropping in for his second run of these finals. Left side, double cork, 1440.
That feels like it's like, to me, that's your kind of classic 75. The judges would have identified 1440s as kind of their baseline trick for today, I think. And you see that executed beautifully. Great amplitude. Like, look how far over the knuckle he is. The grab's in there. The landing's great. He's got to be 75 or above.
Absolutely. I agree with you there, Ed. That was a beautiful 1440. One of the better ones we've seen today there from Joey.
Yeah, you can't do 14s much better than that, but they do have a cap, you know, when you're spinning a 14. We've got other athletes going for 16s and 18s out here, so it will be interesting to see how high he can push with a trick like that, but really clean and just locking in the mute grab. Judges really rewarding that execution too, so as we await the score here for Joey, we'll see what that comes in as.
Yeah, and you've got to think the judges have probably got to leave that last 5 points, 95 to 100 for the 1980s and the 2160s, so Okay,
Yeah,
look at that. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. A 76. So a really, really strong 14. And suddenly, Joey Ellis is back in the game here because he's got a great second jump score. Now it's the turn of Luke Harold out of New Zealand. Luke had a very solid first run score of 82, which gives him a springboard now. If he can put a good score down, then he is right in the mix.
For sure, we saw a big left side triple cork 1440 from Luke before. We know he's got some big switch tricks in his tank as well, so he's going to be looking for the second run to mix it up, take off on a different rotation and see what he can put down to get his second of 3 runs here today.
Okay.
And he's doing exactly that. He's dropping in switch, looking over his switch left shoulder, mixing it up from his first run and wrapping one up, going for a switch left side, double cork 1260, put one down there. Maybe getting a little caught on the takeoff there. We saw a bit of snow flying off. You got to be really patient on those switch cork tricks and maybe just going a little bit early there on the takeoff, looking for potentially a little bit more on the spin from Luke.
Tommy Pyatt and Brad Prosser will be in his ear if he was early. The New Zealand coaches, they've nurtured some incredible free skiing talent down here over the years, and this is just the next generation. Luke Harold, so he's got that 82, adds a 52.25 to it for a total of 134.25. There's a very calm nod there from Luke Harold, everything going to plan as he moves into first place ahead of Hannes Baumhoffner. Next in Matt Alpine out of Canada, just 15 years old, and this kid has got a half-decent score there that he's working on, an 89.5 to build on.
Our second of 2 Canadians dropping into his second run of these finals. He's going to drop in switch over the right side shoulder. Switch double misty 1080, locking in that Japan grab. One of the more unique rotations that we see in a big air these days, going for the switch double bio 1080.
So a little bit less on the spin compared to some of the other riders, but we see very little riders in the whole world doing a trick like that. A switch right side double misty 1080, often seen in the 12 variation, but definitely trickier to hold that one back at a 10. We saw Burke Rude do it years back in Quebec on a big air, and yeah, showing some innovation, some progression in this field out here today.
What I loved is, you called it earlier, Finn, that projection that you get from the Misty, like you're boosting yourself out off the front of the kicker. He got so much amplitude. So again, the judges taking their sweet time with this one, and every time they do, a couple of times you go and speak to a head judge and they'll tell you, if we're taking a pause, if it's taking us time, then it's always a good thing for the rider. They're never going to find themselves getting marked down if we're taking our time. It means they're in that discussion.
Boom.
So an 89.5 and an 87.25, and you can see what happens. A great result for the Canadian. Moves into first place. 176.75 from 2 jumps. He's got over 40 points on Luke Harold, but we've still got 3 skiers left to drop, and they're all of the top qualifiers. First up, Leo Landro out of Norway. Take a breath.
Crikey, stop the damage. Pick up your tool belts, because these boys are dropping hammers as we look back as Leo Landro drops in. He's got some huge tricks in the tank, going for his second run here and wrapping up a triple cork 1800. This competition is heating up. We are getting sweaty over here in the commentary booth. Holy moly, thank goodness he's got a t-shirt on.
Gas mark 7, and there is a beautiful cake in the oven right now. Oof, we're going for the icing of the third runs, but we are still cooking up these second runs. Leo Landro out of the cameraman's frame on the replay and down to easily the third line.
It really doesn't get much better than that for Leo Landro, stomping that triple cork 1800.
Holy moly, 96.5 for run number 2. That's going to give a combined score of 189.75, slotting him into the top spot.
Oof, here we go.
Scores in the 90s for Leo Landro. He is going to be ecstatic over those 2 jumps.
Okay, next in, Fadri Reiner on an 80.5, and it's difficult to see anyone reeling in Leo Landro at this point. You're going to need something absolutely top draw, and it's got to be 90 points minimum if you're going to catch Leo Landro at this stage. So Fadri Reiner with it all to do. The slopestyle champion, chasing down a big air title as well.
Here we see Fradri Reiner coming out of Switzerland, dropping switch over the left side shoulder for a switch. Double Misty, 1260. Going big, stomping the landing.
We've already said it a couple of times. 14 are the minimum to be part of the podium conversation, I feel, at this stage. So, Fadri Reiner, he's got that 80.5.
And going down with the grab there. He's grabbing safety on the outside ski and then looking for the inside, to grabbing with both hands as he goes over on that switch left side. Double Misty, 1260 there.
But, I mean, he's had to drop immediately after Leo Landro and an 1800. He's just left the judges cold there, hasn't he? The judges are all psyched and frothing, and then you come in with a 12. I mean, it's a 12.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? Those are some of the most premier tricks that we see off big air jumps, and this is only the juniors, you know. But 2 scores in the 80s there. This is incredible.
So 161.25. Good enough for third place for Fadri Reiner right now, but let's not forget this man is yet to drop. William Bostadloken out of Norway. He's currently on a 45.5. One of the few skiers who didn't get a score on the board. He's just watched his teammate, though, just get an absolute monster of a score. Leo Landro dropping in a couple riders before. Hopefully that gives him some energy as he looks to put down this second run. We know he's got some huge tricks. We saw him go for an 18 in the first run. These Norwegians really spicing things up in this competition out here. He's dropping in forwards. He's sitting again to the left. And holy
moly!
Just kept his hand off the floor, didn't he?
So another 18 there. These Norwegians just spinning into a different metaverse right now.
Spinning into oblivion there. Holding on to that grab this time, though, for William.
And, I mean, we see some variation between the 2 Norwegian riders. You know, he's doing the double cork variation on the 18 before we saw the triple cork variation from Leo Landro. Arguably, you know, you score them different ways. With the triple cork, you flip more. You can set a bit harder, but you have to wrap. I think this might come in as a bit less. He was quite inside with the tail grab there. But 2 tricks that are just right top class. Impressive stuff from the Norwegians.
We've actually got a facility where we can ask AI what the score is, what they think it'll be. We'll see if they're on the same program as the judges.
I think the landing was not optimal. Therefore, the score will be under 90 points.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, AI. That was amazing. Do you agree? Do you think AI is right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully don't put those judges out of business, but we'll see what the score comes in as.
Judges' jobs are not safe. AI is coming for you. Well, we're about to find out, aren't we?
Who knows? Maybe our jobs are going to be out of action here too soon, Ed, because that was a pretty nice sounding little voice there.
Yeah, we'll ban AI from joining in the conversation anymore. All 60.25. Technically, AI was right. She said it was going to be less than 90, but yeah.
So yeah,
an 1800 on a 60.25, and then what's it?
He did hold on to the grab, and he did land it going big in a big air.
Okay, we're not hanging around up here. We are crossing codes straight back across to the women. Elena Krasuski out of the States. Let's take a look at the scores. As we go into these third and final runs, it is all to play for. Elena currently in 8th place on 101.25. She has a right 7 and a left 3 under her belt. You can see the American coaches grooving up there, just getting her into the vibe. She has a total score of 101.25. She needs to the only way she can really push this, or the most obvious way, not the only way, the most obvious way she can push this is to build on that left-sided 360.
Absolutely, but I think we might have just seen a right side setup at the top there. Yeah, there's that right side.
Okay, so she's going to leave that. She's got a 39.5 on her left-sided spin, so she's going to leave that where it is and try and improve this 61.75 she had for her right or clockwise spin.
I think she's going to want maybe that right side 1080 that she did, almost over-rotating to 12 there, but that was incredible from Elena Krasuski.
So She's managed to hold on to that last 360. She almost turned into a telegraph pole at one stage, but she managed to hold on to it.
Yeah, showing she's got some good spots because she went pretty big on that one, having to wriggle that one round, but holding it at 1080 and putting one hand into the snow there. Probably going to get docked on the points there for the execution, but nice to see her step it up and do the 1080 in this final here today.
Oh, massive respect for holding on to that landing as well, because in the middle it looked like she'd lost it for a second and then pulled it out the bag.
Amazing comeback as well. Shout out Elena for it. She had a knee injury last year, and to come back now doing that 1080 is just amazing.
So the 1080 doesn't score more than that first run, right-sided 720, the 61.75. So she will stay on 101.25. Now, back up at the top, it is the sole New Zealand woman in these big air free ski finals at the Junior World Championships, Sylvia Trotter. She's had a right-sided 7 and a left-sided 7. She's currently in 7th position with 103.5. The lower score, just slightly, a 50.5, is on the left-sided 7.
Just looking at that there, she's simulating the Japan grab, so we'll see if she mixes us up again. You know, she had a little bit of trouble with that before, and she's spinning to the right side, going for the right cork 7 with a Japan, landing clean.
Yeah, way tidier than that first one, I think. The judges will be thinking back to that first right-sided 7 where she fought that cork on the last 270 degrees of the rotation. I think that's going to improve the score.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, Ed. She reached back, grabbed that Japan much longer than we saw on that first run, so I think we will see an improvement.
So
Holding back the smile there. Let it fly, Sylvia.
Yeah, let it go.
Let it go.
The excitement waiting for that score. So currently in 7th position, just ahead of her, 3/4 of a point, is Daisy Thomas. So she's definitely within reach of Daisy Thomas in 6th. Muriel Moore is on 114.5, so 11 points ahead of her. And then ahead of that, it's Kiho Sugiwara in 4th, Yang Rui in 3rd, Han Lin Shan in 2nd, and Flora Tabanelli currently leading with 177.5. But again, never a bad thing for an athlete when the judges are taking this long to discuss it. And let's not forget, we saw a range in that first run. We saw 720s making it into the 70s. So there's the possibility here that this could come up to anywhere high 60s, low 70s. 60.25, slap bang in the middle. It's 110.75, and it moves Sylvia Trotter up into 6th. So 3 clean jumps from Sylvia. She'll be ecstatic about that. Eleanor Andrews up top, the American, giving some really impassioned fist bumps there to her coach. Look more like a little bit of sparring. So currently in 9th position, she's got a 48.5 and a 51.
We saw that right 900 on her first run, and then we saw the left 7 on her second run. So maybe she's going to up one of these scores, or... yeah, absolutely. She's going to drop in forwards, spinning to the left side for a left cork 900, just squeaking over the knuckle there again.
So Eleanor Andrews, that poker face back in business, giving absolutely nothing away again. Snatched at the grab a tiny bit, and then the tips of the skis just saying hello to the end of the knuckle there.
As we get a little bit later in the day here too, we might see the snow starting to heat up and get a little bit slower. We saw it just creep over the knuckle there on that jump.
Yeah, there's undoubtedly some snowboard techs going absolutely bananas on those boards. The snowboarders start at around midday here, so it'll be pretty slushy. So no improvement on that left-sided 9 for Eleanor Andrews, and she will take her first jump score. So 9th place for the American. Now it's the turn of Maria Anichin out of the Ukraine. She's had Misty 7 to the right and a right-sided 7. Let's see if she can go. I'd love to see her go for a left here and stretch her legs.
Yeah, I mean, showing some variation and doing upright and a Misty, but unfortunately that second jump wasn't scored because they were too trick to the right. She's going to be needing a left side trick if she wants to get another score on the board, and she's doing that, spinning to the left side and doing a left side 3, but unfortunately going down on the landing there. So I'd assume that her right side is her more confident way of spinning, and she's having to mix it up, and that's what we were talking about earlier in the show, of really having that depth of your tricks if you want to be up in the higher positions in this competition today.
That's it, isn't it? Qualifying lets you come through on one big trick. But once you get to finals, you've got to have that depth, the ability to spin in different directions. And Maria Anachin, she got a 7.5 there, total of 77. She will come 10th overall, but it's great experience for her and shows her what she needs to work on. Next in, Kiho Sugiwara out of Japan. Currently in 4th place. She's got a 72.5 and a 72.75 for a left and right-sided 7. So she can really stretch here, Ruby.
Absolutely. The 16-year-old coming out of Japan, she's got more in the tank, I think. We saw those 2 beautiful 720s, but...
Do you think a 10?
Maybe a 9, I would assume.
Let's have a
But
look.
we're going to see our left side. Yep, cork 900. Just
And you could
losing
see...
a shoe there.
You saw the building blocks of the 7. She came around perfectly and then panicked once she had the last 180 to do.
Yeah, so lots of comfort in the 720 range there for Kehu, but coming around on the 900, unfortunately, just having a bit too much juice and over the front of the skis there, popping out of the ski, unfortunately. So that's not going to be a score for her.
I want to see the coach crank up that DIN setting too.
Whack it up to 1,000.
So 145.25. Kiho Sugiwara is sat in 4th place at the moment, but a lot of heat behind her. Daisy Thomas definitely can step it up. Probably the biggest threat to her is in 5th place at the moment, and it is Muriel Moore. The German, so strong in slopestyle. Took it out with the last run. Let's see what she's got here for a 3rd and final jump in Freeski Big Air Finals.
So those ladies in the podium position right now are going to be nervous as they watch Muriel Moore drop in. We saw her go for the left side double cork 1080 on that second run. Unfortunately, just under rotating it a little bit, but can she get around to her feet on this run? Oh! Unfortunately, just sitting down in the back seat there. Maybe a little bit coming around to the side on that rotation. If she sets it a little bit more of a spin, then she probably would have pulled that one around to her feet. So really unfortunate to see her go down there.
It looks like she corks really hard on the takeoff, doesn't it? Really chucks her head down.
Yeah, and just coming through her feet on that last flip there, a bit too to the side and just having to check out. Bummer.
So Muriel Moore knows what's coming. The inevitable score. The judges have been as miserly as I've ever seen them today, a 31. So she bumps up 5 points to 119.75. But it's not the score she would have been hoping for. Still, as the newly minted junior world champion in slopestyle, she'll be... she's not going home empty-handed. The flight was worthwhile from Germany. Okay, next it is the turn of Daisy Thomas out of Australia. She's been struggling so far. She's got a 54.5 and a 49.75. It's going to take something really special to bump up.
Daisy just struggling with her grabs in those first 2 runs. We saw that double cork 1080 with the boot grab and then the switch 9. Not to say that these tricks are not difficult. The difficulty is right up there, but the judges really just want to see those grabs. She's looking aggressive, tapping those poles together. She's going to come in forwards and go for the left side double cork 1080, just overshooting there. She locked into that grab. I think that must have given her some more power to drive through.
Oh, and you saw the frustration there. That is ode to disappointment for Daisy Thomas.
Gutting for Daisy there. She's got some big tricks, in her bag, and she definitely has what it takes to be right up in those top spots today. And unfortunately, just going a bit big and just checking out as well.
You made a really interesting point about the aggression and how fired up she was on that run-in. Do you think she grabbed at the trick because she was?
I think, yeah, she was super fired up at the top there and absolutely ripped it off the takeoff. Even though this is a big jump, you still have to be patient and be patient to that grab. But
okay, so that the run 3 1080, not as high scoring as the first run. Obviously, she landed the first one. That score I still think was pretty miserly just for what I saw as a boot grab. But next up, Yang Rui. So the top spots are decided. There's Yang Rui, Han Lin Shan and Flora Tabanelli are going to be your podium. It's just a case of which order they're going to come through in. So Yang Rui currently in third place. She has two absolutely identical scores, two 80-pointers. But she has the ability to send this to the moon now and really stretch for a third and final score.
And it looks like she's turning around to switch. That was her first run that she did the switch 10 on, so she's looking to improve that score and going around another switch 10 and just squeaking that one round. It looked like she was going to go for a 9 and just pulling her feet up there, doing an extra 180 as she came into the landing.
Gives it a big smile.
Nice to see some emotion on the face after a few poker faces earlier in the competition.
Let's have a look. The grab, strong. I think she lets go of the grab earlier, but I think she landed deeper than the first one.
Yeah, I think that was a little cleaner than that first round there.
Yeah.
Okay, so 80 points. Jump not scored. It does not score higher than that first jump, switch 10. So it's 160. Yang Rui is your bronze medalist from the Freeski Junior World Champs Big Air, which means that Han Lin Shan and Flora Tabanelli are fighting it out for the top spot. Two skiers left to drop. Han Lin Shan has a 90-pointer from her first run. Second run score was 76.5. I think we're probably going to see her revisit that and try and tidy it up. Do you think?
Absolutely. Possibly could be a... Yeah, here we go. Switch over the left side shoulder. Switch left side, 900. That was super clean.
Very, very tidy. If we're talking about the 720-point range being, we saw Sylvia's first landed one, which was probably the most unstable one we saw in the bottom of the 50s, up to a 70. If there's a 20-point range on a trick, you'd think with nines you're looking at kind of 55 to 75, maybe at a push 80, but let's see. It's either way, it's not going to be enough. I don't think Flora Tabanelli on a 91 and an 86.
And there it is. Han Linshin, jump not scored. So she's going to sit in that second place position.
So she improved that score, getting up to a 78.75 on her third run. So a small improvement, but not enough to take the top spot. So that's going to mean Flora Tabanelli is in the start gate with a victory lap. What's she going to do? What do you think? Is she going to go and try and improve her scores, or is she going to just put on a show?
Well, you can see the Italian coach has got his phone out, and by the pat on the back, I think he's told her that she might be the champion. But
wow.
She's been all business all week. We went out, I watched her in qualifying, tried to film a little bit of stuff with her, and she was just stone-faced in the zone. I think she's going to send it. I think we're going to see whatever she had planned. She's going out with a bang.
She's in the zone and she drops in here for a third and final run. This is going to finish off our competition in the ladies division. What's she going to do? She's looking over the switch left side shoulder and going for a switch left side misty 9, but unfortunately going down there, quite a flat axis. But I mean, she doesn't need this run. She was just doing that for herself, for the fans, for the coach, for everyone else that supported her. So nice work, Flora Tabanelli. Holy.
So for the young girl out of the Trentino region of Italy, it's the exact region where we'll see the Milan 2026 Olympics go down. She has already got herself a junior world championship title in the bag for 2023. A fantastic performance for Italy across the board. They've had so many strong skiers and snowboarders at these Junior World Championships in every field. Ian Mattioli, Fanny Piantanida Chiesa in the women's snowboarding. These guys have come out, and we said it earlier on, it's the first generation. So run 3 does not score higher than run 1. Flora Tabanelli, though, a fantastic performance and a very, very well-deserved Junior World Championship title here at Cardrona Alpine Resort.
Thank you.
What a performance.
What a competition. These ladies just heating it up.
So this is the leaderboard. In 7th position, Daisy Thomas out of Australia. Couldn't quite land that final trick to push her score up. Fantastic performance from Sylvia Trotter. Qualified in 9th place, moved up into 6th. It'll be a disappointing day, remembered by Muriel Moore, for what might have been Kiho Sugiwara, another skier who skied way beyond her seeding. The Chinese doing so well, claiming 3rd and 2nd there with Yang Rui and Han Linshan. But Flora Tabanelli, majestic 1st and 2nd jumps meant that she didn't even need to touch her 3rd jump score. Let's hear from Flora Tabanelli down at the bottom of the course.
All right. You're Flora Tabanelli, the big Freeski women's champion. How did it feel?
Really good. I'm really happy for this. And also for yesterday and the last days for the slopestyle. Really funny. And thanks for these beautiful days here in Cardrona.
And tell us about your winning tricks today. Can you talk us through them?
Yeah, I did switch bio 9, mute, and dub 10. Yeah.
Awesome. And I mean, you're coming off the back of a hugely successful Northern Hemisphere season with 7 podiums. 2 more here at Cardrona this year. How does this set you up for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I'm happy and I hope to continue like this. And yeah.
Fantastic. So awesome skiing and congratulations. We're hyped for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There you go. Flora Tabanelli.
There we see the girls getting in there for the hugs. Massive congratulations to all of these ladies down the bottom here. It was some incredible skiing today, really pushing that level right up there.
You've been in that position, Ruby. How did you feel last year when you won the Slopestyle World Champs?
Absolutely. I mean, I was in the same position as Flora there with a victory lap, and I mean, it just feels amazing. Super proud of Flora.
Awesome. Okay, back up at the top. It is the 3rd and final dance for the men in the Junior World Championships Freeski Big Air Finals. And first up, it is the Finns. We have 2 of them. It is Jarkko Koskinen, the first of the 2, 17 years old. What did he have in his first 2 tricks?
We saw that double Misty 1260 on his 2nd run.
And he's for that Esco grab as well, really unique grab. We're going to see it again. He's going for the same set and rolling that one over, not having a problem this run. 3rd and final run, he puts that one down super clean.
That landing was so tight together. That's exactly what the judges are going to want to see. Steezing it out with the pole drag as well.
Tell you what, if Simon Cowell ever gets a glimpse of this kid, he's going to be in a boy band before he knows it, isn't he? Those eyes, look at them. Could make bread rise.
Maybe a young Harry Styles there.
Ruby calling it. Okay, so Jarkko Koskinen on a 67. He's got a 22.5. He's 100% improving that. Could make a big jump up the rankings here because he's got 1 score dragging him down. He's going to get a kicker with this last score. Could be one of the biggest movers for jump 3. Certainly going to become the motivator for everyone else to throw down. I think first run we saw a couple of small mistakes, but on the 2nd runs we saw a lot of mistakes. The pressure starting to bite with people, but Jarkko Koskinen certainly hasn't let that weight of expectation get to him. And the judges again deep in conversation.
We need to get this man some sunglasses or something. Can't even see out here today. It's so
Look
bright.
at him. Yeah. Well, we've talked about it. I haven't hit it for a little while, but that running is fast. Doing it without any goggles or sunnies, like my eyes would be streaming.
Yeah, crying all the way into the jump.
Probably not just because of the air either these days.
Like getting some serious airtime down the bottom of those eyes as we look at the scores right now. We've got Leo Landro with a convincing lead. He's got an 189.75. The next score below him is a 176.75. Huge tricks from Leo in those 1st and 2nd runs.
And the margins to get yourself from 85 to 95 are so huge.
Absolutely.
Like, I always think if you've got something, the difference between 160 and 170, not that big. 69.5. Right. I think that's, the body language said it all, didn't it? He was expecting maybe something a little bit bigger from that. So Jarkko Koskinen moves up into 4th for now. Next up is the turn of fellow countryman Aimo Koskinen. The Finns have been, they're so consistent.
We saw that op carve, rodeo or misty 12 last round. Are we going to see that again here? I think we are. Going for the 12 again. Just having to revert there on the landing. Wanted there.
Setting that trick was really flippy, and you can see how it comes down into the landing, really whipping the skis around. Hard to put that one down, and unfortunately just reverting in the landing as we look to the replay there.
Quite a unique rotation.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of almost looks like he's been flung off a rodeo bull. Okay, 48, well, no score for that one. It didn't improve on either of his first two scores. So Imo Mandlin sat in 8th position for now. Still plenty of heat behind him, including first place qualifier William Botstad-Loken. So fair bit to do still. Just starting these third runs in the FIS Junior World Championships Freeski Big Air Finals. And the next skier to drop will be Hannes Baumhoffner. Let's take a look at his scores. At the moment, he's got an 84.25 from his first jump, but he dropped that second jump for a 42.25. So he's on 126.5 total score, which has him in 6th place. And there's a lot of people just within touching distance above him. But you have to think that Hannes, I mean, he's got that 84.25. That's his big showpiece trick. If he can back that up, if he can find a 70, 75, then he's going to be into the 160-point region, which is going to put him within touching distance of the podium. So, yeah, there's plenty to play for here.
For sure. I mean, it's a good score, 84.25 on his first run. He's going to be looking to improve that second run as he drops in here for his third and final here today.
I remember thinking that 42.25 was quite a cruel score because he did put his second jump to his feet. But he's got plenty of stoke carrying him into this third jump.
Clapping the hands together, and he looks like he's going to be dropping in forwards for this jump. Coming in, setting it to the right and going for a right side double cork 1440 clean. He's looking stoked coming out of that one. He's grabbing a safety grab there as well. One of the more easier grabs, I'd say, to get on the 1440s. We're seeing some more technically difficult grabs throughout some of the riders today, so we'll see what that score comes in at, but definitely a really clean trick and really holding on to the grab, tweaking it out there.
Yeah. That was interesting. I think he might have had a grab for the tail in the first 360 as well, but might have done quite a good job of disguising that from the judges. But
it's going to be a big improvement from that second run where he did the same trick but didn't really grab at all. But this time grabbing all the way through.
Okay, so definitely we'd expect to see him drop that 42, and he does a 67.25. So he's up in the 150-point range, puts him into 4th place, just outside the podium. But considering he qualified in 10th place, he'll be very happy with that. Now it's the turn of Finlay Melville Ives. Finlay has a 51 from that first jump score, and he's going to be desperate to get an 18 down.
He's going to need something big on this last run to jump up his position. That's currently in 10th right now.
So we have that switch 18 is the 51 that he's working from. So he's going to drop in forwards, try and get that left side 18, you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a forwards trick here from Finlay. Hometown boy going for the left side double cork 16, going to the bottom and stomping it.
Was that a bit of afterbang, or did the hand touch the snag? The judges are going to be watching this replay very, very carefully.
It looked like he landed pretty solid to me, just putting a little arm swing in there and just locking it in. That's the trick we saw him get through into this finals here from his qualification round. Maybe a little hand touch there,
hand down.
But going really big, you know, pushing that amplitude side of things in the judging criteria. Unfortunately for Finn, we saw a huge switch 18 in his first and second runs, but just not quite there on the execution. He's got a lot to give in this competition, and so nice to see him out here, and we know he's got more for the future for sure.
The judges have been really clear in their messages, haven't they, to Finn? It's like, and I think we'll see this in snowboarding as well. Yeah, you can have an 18, but it's not worth anything if you can't do it. If you haven't got control, if you haven't got mastery of that trick, then we're not giving it to you.
Yeah, and that's the tough realities of slopestyle and big air skiing these days. You just got to be so on it with everything. You know, you got to have the right speed. You got to be grabbing right the way through, and you also got to have that technical difficulty, those big spins. As we see the score come through there for Finlay's third run, it's a 64.5.
Yeah,
So,
and it doesn't move him up, 9th position. So some steep learnings there from Finn Melville-Ives, owner of some of the biggest tricks in the game, but they've got to be tidied up for the title. Next in, it is the Canadian Malcolm Farris. He's currently down in 11th place. So he's got a 28.5 in
we saw
total.
the really interesting tricks from him in the last couple runs. You know, he's the only one in this field doing that pretzel. We'll see what he's got for this third and final. He's not doing the pretzel this time. He's just going to spin that one round and do the 16-20, locking in a really nice blunt there.
The only rider to double fault, really.
Yeah, and really unfortunate too. You know, it's a really innovative trick on that pretzel that he was doing in run 1 and run 2, and obviously showing he's got more tricks in the bag with that beautiful 16-20 just coming around perfectly to his feet there. He's looking stoked at the bottom.
Phenomenal when you think about the level that we're at here, that we've had a final with 10 out of the 11 finalists, with Victor Matskin not starting, who've landed their runs.
Really nice.
Like, got 2 solid scores on the board.
Nope.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament just to how good this jump is as well. You know, when you got perfect conditions, an amazing jump by the boys up here at Cardrona Park's crew. It's all on you to put it down, and I mean, these guys are some of the best in the world, you know, for the junior category, and they're really showing it out here in the competition today.
Oh, look at that. It's almost a look what you could have won. An 84.5 for the one jump he did put down cleanly. Gets a big hug there on his way out. Next up, it's Joey Ellis out of Australia, the 17-year-old. He's got a half-decent second score under his belt. That's 76 for a really crisp 14. But
we saw that switch 900 in his first run, and I think we're going to see something quite a bit bigger here. He's doing that head nod that athletes do when they're kind of going for something big. So he's going to want to up that first score.
We saw him do a switch 900, switch 99, and maybe he was looking for the triple, and looking at that set, it looked like he might be wanting a bit more.
Absolutely. He's going to drop and switch over the left side shoulder for the switch. Just having to open up to 10 there. I think he did want the triple there, Finn, but going to open to 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the way he set that, you know, he had a lot of power, but unfortunately just not quite getting the rip around to do an extra flip there, and just having to settle with the 1080.
Maybe just not quite enough flip. Quite a flat spin, but
It's been real good. It's been nice.
A nice-
Perfect weather.
nice runs from Joey today.
well, we saw a
So
76
nice.
for a near perfect 1440 on his second jump.
Only a
So you
couple
gotta
days, gotta
think
head
this
home.
is probably going to be in the 60s somewhere,
Yeah.
maybe
look,
even high 50s.
Hopefully they leave it up to a
So
little bit.
if that is
but
the
you never
case,
know.
he's still going to move up. He's got Finn Melville-Ives just ahead of him on 115 overall, 125.25. It's a big move for Joey Ellis, up into 7th place for the Australian, just ahead of Imo Mandolin in 8th and Finn Melville-Ives in 9th. Now it is Luke Harold, the 15-year-old, currently sat in 6th place. He has an 82 from his first jump. He's got that 52.25 scratch, but a good score here would put him 100% in the podium places. Can he the big question here is not what the tricks that he's got, it's whether or not he can cope with the pressure.
Yeah, we've seen some big tricks out of Luke. You know, he put that big left side triple cork 1440 down in his first run, and he's looking to improve his switch trick here as he pops around, looking over the switch left shoulder. We saw him do the 12 before, but wanting more, and it looks like he's going to get more. He does a switch left side, double cork, 1620 with the safety grab. Super clean there for Luke. Really nice to see him put that one down and manage that pressure well.
Someone let this guy become a pilot. He landed that like a dreamliner, didn't he? It was just beautiful.
Gliding into that landing, tweaking that safety right out to the side. Little head nod on the landing.
Yeah, on the same this jump.
Okay,
There's that smile again. Luke's happy down there.
Yeah.
starting to relax now. The hard work is done. It's just the nervous wait for the judges' opinions on his work. So that 82 on the first jump. If he gets another 80 here, he is moving straight up into the podium places.
It's been really fun.
We've got William Bostad-Loken, Fadri Reiner, Matt Lapine, and Leo Landro still to drop. Some heavy hitters, but right now, Matt Lapine has a 176.75 in second. Fadri Reiner has a 161.25. And it's a 69.25, 151.25 for Luke Harrell. That moves him up into 5th place. So back up to the top. And it is Matt Lapine. He is in second position. Two very strong scores, an 89.5 and an 87.25 on the board.
Only 15 years of age, coming out of Canada. What has Matt Lapine got for us today on his last run of these finals? Coming in forwards for a Barani 5, opting for the front flip 180. One for the people.
So he's obviously got the jumps he wanted, 1 and 2, and went for the showman on jump 3.
Yeah, not going to risk it any more than he needs to on that third and final run, and just putting on a show for us. Just can really see how big this jump really is when you do just a 540, you know, stretching that one out, going right over the top with a fronty.
And only 15 years old in that second place position. He has had an amazing day already. Hopefully he can hold on to that second place for the rest of these riders.
3 skiers left to drop. Leo Landro is the first of them, and he currently holds the top spot. He's not going to have the satisfaction of a victory lap, but you've got to say, the way he's riding at the moment, he doesn't look too concerned about it. He thinks he's got first place in the bag. Let's see what he's got.
Switching out his glasses from the run before and going for a genie grab, going big. So what a great place to be. You know, he's put down his first 2 runs and just got them out of the way, and now he's just cruised his way down. Whole competition, though, he's been looking pretty cruisy as he's just been wearing a T-shirt. Madman.
Look at that.
He kept his skis crossed for so long there. So dangerous if he was to land like that. But showing his skill there.
I've seen Leo actually include that same trick but doing a switch triple rodeo before, so something we didn't see out of him today, but he's put down, you know, a switch triple 1620 and a forwards triple cork 1800, and he's even got more in the tank. This kid's definitely going to be one to watch in the future.
I'm loving the pink glasses too.
Unbelievably, that didn't raise his score up. I would have had that in the 95 range. But so Fadri Reiner, one of the men who, even with a 100-point score here, cannot reach Leo Landro. So I think we do know now, mathematically, it is impossible for anyone to catch Leo Landro. But Fadri Reiner is only 15 points off. Actually, yeah, he's 15 points off Matt Lapine ahead of him. He'd need a 95-point jump here to go into second place. So
I think it's definitely possible. He definitely has the ability, but let's see with Fadri dropping in for his final run here of these Junior World Championships for a left side double cork 16.
Getting,
the Japan grab.
Getting so much pop off that one there, just going huge, right up into the sky, wrapping it over with a Japan grab.
Super flowy, just looking super comfy with that trick. You can just tell that he's done it a bunch of times before.
It's often the way, though, I mean, as technical as the grab is, if you're reaching around your feet, it's actually aiding the spin, isn't it? You're not reaching out, you're not slowing that rotation down, so.
Yeah. Definitely enjoy the last couple of days here.
He's pretty stoked down there, though. So Fadri Reiner sat in third position. He'd need an absolute monster of a score to go up, but not sure that's going to happen. And he's not quite guaranteed the podium. I say not quite. The last man to drop, William Bostad-Loken, would need a 100-pointer. So run 3, he does improve. It's 182.25. And you know what? That extra couple of points that he just cranked on that third jump puts a podium position out of reach for William Bostad-Loken, who dabs his way in to the course. So this one's for pride for William Bostad-Loken. He's on a 60.25. He's definitely, we saw it yesterday in qualies, he's definitely capable of something huge here, and he's skating in.
Yeah, he's looking game on as he approaches his jump, popping around to switch, going for the switch left side. Double cork 16.20 with a blunt grab, just super clean there.
And you know what he's thinking to himself. Why couldn't I do
So
that
could
jump
have had
one?
it with
I
that
could have done it.
Forwards 18 and then backing it up with the switch 16.
All right.
The chocolate fish just dangling out in front of him there as he comes into the finish line. Oh, beautiful switch left 16 there though. Super clean. These Norwegians putting on a really good show in this finals here today. All these men just absolutely cranking it off this big air jump.
So 15, 16, 17 and 18-year-olds competing here. How bright is the future of free skiing for both the women and the men? Fantastic level today.
I gotta say, it's been one of the most progressive Junior World Championships I've ever seen in my short career so far, and it's gonna be a bright future for lots of these kids.
Well, it's going to be a really tough future for you, Ruby, because they're joining you in the next couple of years. Oh, so look at that, a 90-pointer. You caught this, the chocolate fish. That's exactly what it is. It would have been enough to do battle with fellow countryman Leo Landro, who is the first man to embrace him down there in the finish area. William Bostad-Loken moving up the rankings into 6th place with that 90 points, puts him on 150.25. And we can take a look at those overall standings in just a moment. Look how beautiful it is. Glimpse down the valley there. The layer of cloud will be covering Wanaka, the local town down here, and Lake Hawea out in the distance. But already the Cardrona Parks crew are making short work of the rake job on the kicker there. They'll be salting that, getting it ready for the snowboarders who are coming up in just over an hour. Midday will be running hot on those guys. Meanwhile, the park is running beautifully up at the back there. New earthworks on that Big Bucks jump line. And then also new earthworks down on the Antlers jump line down at the bottom. You've got 2 kickers there. This is a playground of progression, and it's full of some of the best riders in the world for the Southern Hemisphere winter. Some huge travelling teams.
Not much snow on those other hills over there, but Cardrona making good work, getting up the whole park this season. Park crew putting in the hours there. Great to see.
Okay, we can have a quick chat with our winner now, Leo Landro, down in the finish area. Let's hear what he's got to say about his performance.
There we go.
Leo Landro, you are the FIS Freeski Big Air Junior World Champion. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. It was so much fun to ski today. Beautiful weather and everything, so super happy.
Awesome. Can you talk me through sort of maybe your favourite moment or your favourite trick that you did today?
My favorite trick was probably the 18 mute grab. 3rd time I've ever done it, ever, I think, yeah. So a bit nervous, and when I landed it, I was so happy. Felt amazing.
Awesome. And you had the 2nd place finish at Europa Cup in La Clusa in Big Air.
Yeah.
Just be.
Yeah.
Now you're the Junior World Champion. What can we expect for you in the future going forwards?
I don't know, maybe some creative tricks with some screaming seamen or some crazy grabs, hopefully. Maybe some pretzels in the air. Let's see.
Awesome. And it seems like you had a good, strong Norwegian crowd out here cheering you on today. How does it feel to have those fans so far from home?
It's super nice. Always nice to have like people from home backing you. So super happy with everything.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. We spoke to you.
Thank you so much.
So Leo Landro enjoyed himself out there. He's going to get creative. As we've already said it, it's a bright future for free skiing with kids like this coming up. No shortage of style, creativity, and as we saw there, technicality.
Yeah, extra notes on the style there, looking at those bright pink sunglasses, just absolutely finessing his way through that last interview.
Yeah, and he's gone for the pastel polo shirt as well, with collars just sticking out of the fleecy vest. Okay, so a quick roundup of the results as they stood. So Victor Maxigan, unfortunately, not able to compete. Malcolm Farris in 11th. Finn Melville-Ives, the second of the Kiwis, in 10th position. Just couldn't stomp those 18s. Imo Mandlin, Joey Ellis, Jarkko Koskinen, and then William Bostad Stadloken in 6th. He wasn't able to make good on that first place qualifying position. Luke Harold, the Kiwi, in 5th position, just missing out on the podium spots. Hannes Baumhoffner, the German, in 4th. Fadri Reiner in 3rd. Matt Alpine, the Canadian, in 2nd. And you've just heard from him, Leo Landro, the Norwegian, in 1st. The new FIS Big Air Junior World Champion. That rounds out our free skiing for the day.